Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a replay analysis with Krytus from Clan Babin 2. Shout out to the baboons, the North American baboons anyway. Krytus is in his Bassotto Tier 6 Italian TD. The lower tier, you get to the higher tiers and you have some turrets and a lot of armor. This is a different idea. It's the transition from 6 to 7 where you start to get that upper tier gameplay for the Italian TDs. But down here, what you have is basically what kind of looks like a very Stug kind of looking tank right there, clearly influenced by that design, World War II kind of design, but it's dropping 360 alpha bombs on people, 175 pen, guys, with a standard round at tier 6. If you dab 2, you're getting 215 with that 360 alpha. Of course, you're shooting a heat shell, so all of the basic issues with heat shells and such. We are here on Glacier Dwarf, Himmel's Glacier Dwarf, top tier in a tier 6 and tier 5 battle. Krytus wanted me to take a look at this and see what things we can perhaps adjust in the gameplay or talk about, or things that could be done better. This is a kind of a difficult TD map, to be quite honest, and there's some significant changes that have happened around the heavy brawl, or at least the way into the heavy brawl. You can see these big rock outcroppings here on both sides. Those were not there before, and the reason they're here is people would get up onto the ramp right there, spot guys trying to cross, much like the HT number 6 is trying to do right now, and guys would come up, hold down right here and tear them up, plus the arty would bomb them and all kinds of things. So they put in the big rocks and it's a little bit easier to get by. It is not easier for the T-67 to get by. And Krytus just misses that shot. And this is an okay spot, at least in my opinion, for a TD right here. You are looking for shots like that. They are inside of your draw distance, as you can see the outside ring, and they are just outside of the spotting range, so they should not see him even if he shoots. The problem with this spot, of course, is you're relying on your heavies to lose. So any follow-up damage, if you stay here, and we'll go ahead and see what he's doing, any damage you get later in the game because you stayed here most of the game is because they've beaten your heavies and now you're trying to beat up their push that pushes in. It is very much an analog on the other side. So the other option for TDs is to go work across to the south and try to take shots maybe about where the T-78 is or something like that. Maybe the Simavente, though he's a little bit far back to really do much of anything back there. And kind of support that southeast battle that's up on that big ridge, that road that goes around the edge of the southeast. Again, not that easy because there's not a whole lot of cover. So what does that mean? Well, it's a tough TD map, it really is. But all of a sudden, we can see that the purple team has pushed around and our heavies are both getting beat up. And there aren't many of them there. The Tog got trapped, I guess. He thinks he can't move, and now Krytus is going to have some nice shots. So we'll take a nice careful shot there. I don't know if that jerk on your shot was because you've got that dynamic gun thing or whatever it is that shows the recoil. I would suggest turning that off if it's not off. I sometimes do that myself when I shoot. It jerks a little bit because you get the palsy, get a little older, all that good stuff. So I don't know, maybe something to look at in case you don't have it. Let's see if it does it again. Yeah, it looks like you've got that, I don't know if it's dynamic gun shake or what it is, but it simulates a recoil. If you like it because that's just part of what you like about the game, then by all means keep it there. It doesn't really do anything. It does move the pipper a little bit, which probably doesn't matter because you're not going to reload immediately, but it kind of annoys me, so I get rid of it. Put a shot into 3002 if that's indeed what it is. It looks like it is because it happens every time. Armor not hit, that's a bummer. The shot just went a little left and got into the track and didn't get into a hitbox. And that is a bummer. The 3002 lives. All right, the problem with this spot, let's just pause it here and talk about it. It's a great spot for what's happening here as long as you've got shots. Those extra rocks have made it more difficult to use this spot. I think he mentioned that in his note to me. But it's pretty easy for them to get up underneath your gun, and there's just no cover up here. Really, maybe this rock over here is a little better with some bushes and stuff, but to be honest, I don't know what the line of fire looks like on that. I'm wondering if it can actually hit the Pollack and the other heavy there. It's been a long time since I've sat up here, so it might be a better idea for you to shift over there, especially, and we're going to watch this, we'll let it go. You kind of hang out here a really long time just hoping that they would drive into you. Kind of, I don't know what this RBFM is doing. He just sits there and lives way longer than he ever should. No kidding, just sitting there. Remember that they have an LEF and they have a Grill A, which both shoot pretty quickly. This dude's just sort of getting in your way, unfortunately. Your heavies are dying wholesale. And at this point, I don't know, I think that guy was actually shooting maybe at your RBFM. I don't think you were spotted right there. This is pretty crazy. We actually get that shot. That's about as big a dispersion circle as you may ever see. All right, we're spotted right there. So that's what I'm talking about. Any shots you have are these little pixel shots right at the top of the turret from this position. I would already start to be thinking about falling back in this situation. You could sell out by going forward and trying to kill one of them. Maybe you have a 360 Alpha, but I think you might get one, and probably you get bombarded by the Arty and perhaps the Skoda T25, which I think you also mentioned in your note to me, sitting there hold down. You've also got a huge problem happening behind you, and really it's 8-2. So I think, in my opinion, it's time to shift towards farming mode. Try to get as much damage as you can. If you farm enough, if you do enough damage in your defense, maybe you come up with a win if you kill enough of these guys. But you're losing allies rapidly, and it's looking grim. Your KV2 did you no favors by camping, and your heavies just kind of drove in and got absolutely schwacked. So it's just been a bad game all around for this team. Well, let's see how you handle this, because we get that shot. Okay, great. And we sit here and we were spotted. I wanted to talk about that. I would not sit there, and that's exactly why right there. You got the shot. You got spotted. I would immediately start pulling back. Try to keep, for everybody out there, try to keep aware as best you can. It's not easy, and I fail as well along the way. Of all the firing lanes against you, and you were kind of forward, definitely anybody along this ridge right here is going to have shots at you. Also, pay attention to your spotting ring or your draw ring, the outside ring right here. When you are lit, any one of the guys inside this outside ring will see you on the map. All right, you might be behind something, but they'll see you. In this case, you're high enough up there that the Skoda can get some shots. So as soon as I was lit and I knew I didn't have another shot, absolutely start backing out of that just to bring all of that together. Get behind that cover, and maybe even at this point, I would start thinking about getting out. Because what are we really staying for right now? Right? What exactly is the plan by sitting here as all of those guys come up underneath the gun, under the ridge, and the only way I can get shot on those three is to come up and over and completely expose myself. Also, just sitting there, once an LEF kind of knows where you are and he knows you're not moving, you are going to get bombarded. So we do back up because we get that instant feedback from the T25, but we kind of hang out at this rock, and it looks like maybe we have chosen this rock. This is the hill we will die on this rock, and that's fine. There are positions like that in situations in the game where you simply just have to turtle up where you are and accept it and just try to get as much damage as you can. But I really think, man, on this one is fall back into this area back here. You got two options if you fall back into this wooded area. You can come over to here and shoot guys as they come up and around, and maybe use some of the terrain and the trees for camo, or you can swing around to the other side of this, and you can start shooting guys that are coming up over here on the other side and support the Semavente and the M41. The reason I say that is once they got up under your gun, it's a bit of a trek for them to get up this hill. None of those are particularly fast. That 3002 is not bad. As soon as they got under my gun and I was spotted, I'd get hiding right here, turn around, get into those bushes, and see if I can't schwack some of the guys coming from the other direction. And what that does by moving away from those three is it builds me time while they trundle along and come up this hill, and maybe I can kill a few of these guys off, and then if we take care of this problem, then we can turn around and deal with these, because then they've got to come up and over this hill, and that's not very easy. Plus you got the KV2. KV2. I don't know, man. That's awesome. Sitting there. I'm not sure what's going on there. Somebody's actually going to be... There we go. KV2 reported. They're all mad about the KV2. So I think really at the end of the day, on this particular match, I'd be back in those woods back there. The other side actually has an analog as well, about B0 or so. A9, B0, that area, the same kind of thing can happen there. The last stand position, some bushes and trees to provide camo at least, and a little bit of terrain for maybe some cover at times. But it looks like you've decided to kind of hang out here and fight this. So we're looking across there. Maybe we can get a shot. Checking those guys. I like that. That was actually good. Checking 6. Where are they? Here they come. All right, let's look this way. And then use your KV2. Unfortunately, they killed both your other guys over there, Semavente and whatever the other guy that was camping. Come around, look for shots. I think that's a good idea. Waiting for this dude to come up. He's a one-shot at 208. Be really nice if we could nuke this guy. And then we've got the ELC as well, who's near a one-shot with a high roll. We kind of back away, and now we're looking that way. And really, here comes the Pollack, although they did kill one of them that was pushing up there, so that was good work by the Artie. There's a T-67. Now that Pollack comes up. All right. Here comes an Artie, by the way. You can see that thing arcing in. We're coming in to take a shot on this guy, and one thing to think about with casemates like this, I know you were trying to get around and maybe kill him as he came up and over. I think maybe I would have just stopped and aimed right in front of the rock, and as he came around behind it, kill him. I know you don't know that he's necessarily going to do that, but I think it was better than coming around all the way this way. We end up killing him anyway, so nice job. All right, so I already talked about... Oh, nice. Caught the LEF. Boom, just right in front of us. No splash on an LEF, so he didn't get to us. Very nice. So we've already talked about maybe going to that position earlier. I would absolutely now run into those bushes and try to survive here, but I think we're just going to kind of stay in this position. ELC's coming up. There we go. Now we got two really long aim time guys staring at each other. ELC's going to pop off a shot, and he misses, and he's probably bumming. And that sucks right there. You did get stunned by the grill, which does have stun. That increases your reload time, and this poor ELC or silly ELC or mean ELC, however you want to look at it, gets away. I don't know if you would have reloaded quite in time to get that shot, but certainly was not helped by the stun. We end up with 1,470 and a couple kills on this. So just to wrap this all up, Krytus, it's not an easy map for TDs. I thought looking at the middle was a fine idea, and you had yourself well positioned to get shots without being spotted, and that's all you can ask for from your TDs. I think you missed that T25 shot early right there, but that's one of those things. If I'm pointing at the right direction, am I pointing at the right direction? Do they appear when I need them to? All that kind of stuff. That's why sometimes when I know someone's going to pop out and I figure they're going to shoot and go away, I don't always wait for it to fully zoom. Just get the shot off and see if it hits them right there. From there, fine idea, I think, to kind of hang out there. Where else would you go? You could go, like I said, down to the south and try to support down there, but you did some good work, and pretty quickly, you went to that spot, which is, again, a fine spot, got a shot or two. I think you hit somebody, and pretty quickly the heavies are already pushing your heavies, and then your focus is down there, and that's pretty much where you needed to be at that point. But once they got up underneath your gun, I'd have bailed out of there and gone back into the bushes, try to draw them in, see if you can start farming them as they come up and over. As it was, I think you made the best of a bad situation right there. There's not a whole lot of, I think, advice on this particular map or this match where you could go, well, if you'd have done that, would have definitely been a good thing and probably could have won the game. I mean, your screen died so fast and everything was pretty much a defensive situation for the rest of the game. Well, thanks for sending that in. I do appreciate it, man. Hopefully some of that advice helped. If anybody's got any other great ideas or even bad ideas, I don't care. Put your ideas down there in the comments. That's all I've got for this replay analysis. Thanks for the support of the channel. We will see ya.